Hello everyone, my name is Luminica, and honestly speaking, the more I learn about communication, the higher is my desire to go back to school and tell my teachers how wrong they were this whole time. I remember I was in a standard class that there was this big fluctuation or big grade difference between kids. And usually the teachers explain it like, yeah, some kids are smarter than others, or some kids listen more than others. Some kids are more interested than others. Some kids are more literature oriented and the other technical oriented. And back then it made sense. But now when I'm a little bit more grown up and I learn to learn, and I learn about information sharing, this whole concept makes no sense. It's actually not a reason, but an excuse from a teacher why this big grade fluctuation happens. And yes, we're all different, and we're going to talk about this today. But this difference between us doesn't lay in someone being smarter than other. Just think for a second, how can be a kid smarter than the other one when they are both at the same beginning? They both have no idea what's going on in that subject. And it's not about being attentive or not, because this is not something that we genetically inherit from our parents. Listen or not listen. The problem doesn't lie on kids, neither on the information. The problem is in the way in knowledge and information is shared, because in schools, teaching methods depend on the teacher, on the way he or she is teaching. Whether this knowledge transition or knowledge sharing should be based on the way kids learn, on their perceptual preferences. But before we go to the explanations, let's make a quick experiment first. What is the smallest bird on Earth? This is this one. How long does it take to go by foot from London to Paris? It's around 57 hours. And what is 15 multiplied to 22? Take your time, you can calculate it on a piece of paper, on your computer, I don't mind. Take your time and calculate it. If you're confused right now, stay with me till the end of this video. I promise you'll understand everything. A little bit earlier, I mentioned perceptional preferences. And in a nutshell, perception is the way we gather information from our environment. Now, there are many types of them and subtypes, but for this video, just to keep it clear, easy, and general, we will talk about three main ones. And these three are the most commonly used and seen in an educational context or knowledge transfer context. When we talk about perceptional preferences, this is basically the way we prefer to learn or the way we prefer to gather information from our environment. And as I said before, there are three main ones. The first one is visual. In this situation, a person remembers something better and easier if he or she sees it. If it's a picture, a graph, a figure, it is just important that there's a visual element in here. Also, an interesting characteristic is that these kind of people, when they hear something or read something, in order to remember and process information, they transform everything in their head into pictures. For example, if I tell you right now that I saw a very beautiful red blouse today at H&M, you will automatically think of a red blouse. And this is how you'll remember this kind of information. In order to learn better, people that have visual perceptual preferences should read books with pictures, for example, or really read the book and not listen to it like an audiobook. Also, these kind of people are really good in orientation. So if you're in a new city, you kind of remember photographically the buildings. So next time you're there, you know where to go. Not because someone told you that, but because you remember that this building was there and this was there. The second type is the auditory one. And in this situation, people remember something easier and better when they hear it. So if you want to share a piece of information, you have to not text it, but really say it. I have a video on how to talk to sound more confident. You can check it out here. And this video is interesting and important for everyone, but it is crucial for people that have an auditory perceptional preference type, because exactly these kind of people are very sensitive to the pitch, to the volume, to the speed that you talk. These people will actually gather a lot of information not only from your words, but from the way you speak. For this type of people, in a presentation, the slides are okay, interesting, but it's more important what you say with your words. So they might not remember how many colors you use or the text that you use. For them, it's important what you said. The third type, and the last one for today, is the kinesthetic perceptional preference type. And this means that a person learns something better and easier when it's demonstrated. Also, some people call it the trial and error type, because you have to try to do something, or you should see how it's done in order to understand how it functions. To these kind of people, you can show thousands of pictures or orally explain for 3 hours how to do something, and they will not care. They should see how it's actually done, step by step, and usually they also should try to do that. If during this video you thought, oh, visual sounds like me, but auditory as well, and kinesthetic somehow too, well, that's normal, because none of us is 100% one type. It is a combination of. Nevertheless, we all have a one dominant type. So we gather information through seeing, listening, and doing, but it is the best or the easiest to see something or hear something or do something. Now, coming back to my discussion about school, every kid has a predominant perceptual preference, same as the teacher actually. Now, the problem is that the majority of the teachers teach the way they learn the best. Meaning, if I'm a teacher and I learn the best when I hear something, I start to talk a lot. But that's wrong. In order to make sure that the information that you share is actually perceived and understood, you have to speak in the language of your receiver. And yes, you cannot explain every single kid in the way he or she understands it better. But it's important for you as a teacher, no matter if it's in school, university, or if you're explaining something to a couple of friends. It is important to be aware that there are more types of perceptual preferences. So if you go to a group and let's say you're a public speaker and you go to an audience that you don't know, but keep in mind that there are these different types, try to implement in your presentation both pictures, sounds, and some demonstration. And then you kind of share and explain everything to everyone, and nobody's excluded. And I can assure you, if you explain something in the preferential or perceptional language of your audience, nobody will be smarter than others, and nobody will be more attentive than others, because everyone will listen, because everyone understands, and everyone will be smart. Now the big reveal. Write me in the comment section below one of the answers to the questions that I asked you at the beginning. One of them, any of them, just the first one that you remember. Anyone. What did you write? Was it 330, 57, B hummingbee, B hummingbird? Well, this shows you which type of perceptual preferences is dominant to you, because this is what you remembered the best. Now think back. I showed you a picture of the bird. I didn't say anything. I told you the number of hours you need from London to Paris without explaining you how I did it. And I made you calculate, so you did something. Now when you have this information, you can learn better. You know how you can learn better, and you know how to explain something to your fellows. I hope that this video was informative and useful to you. I really hope so. If you like this kind of videos, click here and here for more. Click here to become part of my growing community. Click on the bell button to get notified when I post new videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye!